Welcome to the Superconscious Success Podcast, where Jen and her Superconscious Success family co-hosts bring you valuable content each and every week on topics relating to manifestation, spirituality, and most of all, using your superconscious to manifest success in all areas of your life. Now on to today's episode.
Hey there, Superconscious Success fam. Welcome to another episode of our co-hosted segment, Peace and Prosperity, with my amazing friend and executive coach, Christopher Salem. Our intention with this segment is to help entrepreneurs and business owners who are all struggling to maintain harmony in their lives have successful relationships, health, and of course, wealth. Through our 9-anchor transformational process, we will help you create this harmony by optimizing all 9 anchors. In this segment, we interview executive coaches, intuitive business leaders, and successful business people in an effort to give you insight and tips on how you too may be able to create the harmony in your lives that you're looking for.
So today we brought you another amazing guest that's going to bring some serious insight into how you can become confident and reach your fullest potential. Our guest today is an intuitive and inspirational speaker, best-selling author, life and business coach who helps men and women heal their emotions and energy and limiting beliefs and flow through fear, moving forward with positive communication. I would love to continue on to let you know about all that Kim does and her incredible accomplishments, but it would take an entire podcast. There's so many. So if you'd like to learn more about her, definitely visit her website at kimlifecoach.com and be sure to listen to her interview here. So now let's head over and chat to Kim, who has some incredible content as to how you may begin to move through that fear and reach your fullest potential.
Hey, Kim, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Hi, guys. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, well, we're excited because in today's podcast, we're actually wanting to talk to you about how we may move through that fear, build that confidence, and really stand in our own power. Because 8th of the 8th, it's the 8th of the 8th over there. It's the end of the night. The Lionsgate portals just opened up, and that's about us standing in our power. That's about us being able to be that person that we were designed to be. And I know that you have done some incredible TEDx talks. You've been on the stage with lots of big names like Brian Tracy and a host of others. And so I know that you're going to bring some great insight into this conversation. So let's start off by just saying getting you to tell us your story.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yes, over here it is 8/8, and it is that powerful activation, whether you follow that or not. It is a time to step in your power. And also because it's coming on to the second half of the year to where you're like, okay, I have a few months left of 2022. What am I going to make of it? And bring with me into 2023 and on. And so that's really important. I started to actually, speaking about like Brian Tracy and people like that, I started to watch Jim Rohn, who taught Anthony Robbins and worked with all those guys. I started to watch him live when I was only 18, and I started to learn goal setting. I was very inspired by him. I got to meet him later on because we kept continuously going to see him. And I really looked at it like, wow, how do they do what they do? But I didn't end up knowing that I was going to do this for a living. And fast forward, studying that through the years and studying spirituality and delving into doing card readings and intuitive readings and some life coaching, but really thinking it was just a hobby, I ended up deciding to get certified in NLP and life coaching just because I thought it was going to be adding to my interest, my hobby, still not knowing it was my purpose, and kept getting this whisper of like, you're not meant to be doing what you're doing. You're meant to be doing something else. And at the time, I was actually teaching special education, loved it, but it wasn't my 100%. And I had worked with adults with schizophrenia and different behavior issues and things. And I also was in the entertainment industry, and I was in a girl group where we sang at events and things, and I modeled. Cool. Just a bunch of different things, but I was not yet in my purpose. And after I went through that course, the NLP course, with this really amazing speaker named Nuyurka, I just opened up to the possibility, like, I think I'm supposed to be a life coach. And this was like for a career. And this was 2010. So it's been about 12 plus years now. And so I just completed my certifications, took my college degree and all my other experience with me, and was like, I'm just going to launch this as a full force thing. And quickly it turned into speaking and business coaching and doing the intuitive readings like as a career, and just a lot of serendipity. Like, I made my own opportunities, of course. So I started having these women's events every month in Los Angeles and Orange County, California. And I started to know speakers and different people, and then they would be happy I booked them. So they'd book me and different things like that. And so it just ended up becoming where I stepped into doing a TED Talk. I started to write books, and it just kind of all happened without any force. It happened with ease because I was in my purpose. So it felt like playing, which it still does. And so now, down the road, I'm doing a podcast. I'm still speaking. I'm coaching, and love it.
Wow. So let's start off then. We're going to segue, and you just talked about how life just goes with the flow when we live in our purpose. Can you expand on that a little bit? Because we all know that when we've figured out what that purpose is, which can be tricky sometimes, can be tricky to go through that process of figuring it out. But once we do, things just start to flow along. So how may somebody actually start to design their life to live in their purpose?
Right. I think that's a great question. And I think a lot of people get too into the pressure of it, and they feel like they're not enough. They focus on, I don't have a purpose. I don't have a purpose. And so what's happening is they're blocking even finding it because they're focused on lack. They're focused on what they're not doing. And sometimes someone's purpose may be, I am here to give back by volunteering. That might be their purpose. Or I am a mom, and that's what my purpose is. That might be for some people, whereas someone else, it might be this big thing, the president of a company or a celebrity or whatever. And so it's more about analyzing and evaluating your life and going, in what areas do I feel unsatisfied? In what areas am I feeling like something's missing? And where do I shine? What makes me feel alive? What feels aligned with me? What feels 100%? And really taking that inventory, like, let me make a list. What am I doing right now? Who am I spending time with? What are my projects? And how many of those things on that list are less than 100%? And if I got rid of those things or changed them around or lessened them, what could take that place? Well, maybe you'd find what your purpose is, because then you'd have that space to look for what you're passionate about, to play with different things and try different things. But I feel like you'll know what it is when things feel like play, when things feel passionate and excited, and you don't feel like it's tedious. You feel like
you're excited to get up in the morning to get started again. And I think it's important for people to understand that our purpose changes as we go through life too. So, I mean, my purpose, I've got 2 teenagers, and my purpose up until recently, I mean, they're 18 and 20, so they've got their own lives now. And they've kind of got their own friends and partners and that sort of thing. So now my purpose has changed. And so whereas my purpose before was to raise my kids and to be the best mum that I could, now my purpose is to really stand in my power and to do what I'm doing, and to help others to discover how they can also do that. So it's important to understand that just because you've figured out what your purpose is, this could change in a few years, or and this is why it's so important that mums don't lose that power when they're mums, because I noticed myself when my kids, went out and started doing their own thing, it kind of like, you have to have that inner knowing in order to be able to sort of like go, okay, well, I'm more than just this particular role. So how can somebody bring out that inner knowing? How can somebody, especially mums that are staying at home, to stand in that power and to be who they're designed to be?
Right. And I think that you brought up a great point, is you need to be enough without it just being one thing. And so if you're a wife or a husband, or a mom or a dad, you don't want to have that be your only thing. You want to be enough as you. If you can become enough and know yourself inside and out as deeply as you can, with anything that needs to be healed, and you just feel complete and you feel enough and confident, then you're going to be good as a mom. Then you're going to be good as a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, or in your career. And so the first most important thing is to work on yourself. And that's really reassuring for especially women who feel guilty because they're spending time working on themselves. If you can build that inner strength, you'll have so much power that you'll be a better mom and wife and career woman or whatever you end up deciding to do. So it is, and I think what you should start doing is just work on it in little steps, like listen to a podcast, journal, take some time to watch something inspiring on YouTube. One of my favorites is The Shift by Dr. Wayne Dyer, because you can watch it at different levels of your life and you'll see it completely different. So I would say just start like that and then work your way up.
Yeah, that is a great one, The Shift. What do you think, Chris? What do you think about that, the whole concept of us standing in our power and being that individual that we're put here to be?
Well, I mean, I think it comes down to you have to be who you are. I mean, so many people are trying to be something they're not. They wear a mask. And when you wear a mask, like I did for my first 30 years, trying to live up to somebody else's values or living from their values, and getting caught up in the control you can't control, you wonder why there was stress, anxiety, anger, frustration, disappointment, and what could possibly lead to addiction as the result of Medicaid. I learned the hard way. So learning how to come into the moment, and as Kim said, putting yourself first, because you can't give what you don't have. So if you're going to be an example and be a resource for others through your example and your resourcefulness, you have to become that every day. You have to think differently. You have to be it every day. You have to become it in order for you to do and have different and better results. So for me, what Kim said, you have to work on yourself every day. That's through discipline and habits of a daily routine, learning to think in the moment, trusting the process of controlling what you can, letting go of what you can't. And the only thing we can control every day, 5 things, are the communication to yourself and others, your behavior, your attitude, it's happening for you, not to you, your emotions. Now, we have whatever that emotion is, it could be a negative emotion, that's fine. But it's now the secondary emotion that we have a choice. Do we either respond from anger or disappointment, or can we choose a positive emotion to address and see the challenge or the obstacle as an opportunity to grow? And then our course of action. I've learned now to let go of those same 5 things in other people. We have no control over that. And it just leads to frustration. And now I can sit in my truth and focus on what I'm good at. What I'm not good at, I leave it be, and I leverage that with people and resources.
Absolutely. I think that's great, Chris. And I think that once we let go of control of other people and how they're going to respond to us and what they think of us and all of that, I think we can really stand in our truth, because I think a lot of the time we're scared of what that's one of the fears that we have, is what are other people going to think of me? What are people going to think of if I fail? If I don't succeed with this? We know the fear of failure, but I think there's equally a fear of success, which is out there. And I think that once we can actually stand in that power, I think we have the ability to start to move through that fear. How can someone get over or move through that fear of success?
Right. Are you asking Christopher or me?
No, Kim, you, not me. Don't worry. You.
I was getting into the discussion.
No.
Yeah, I think that people don't even think about that. They're like, wait, what does that mean? And so I do. It's interesting. I usually lead clients through that. Like, okay, well, what about what if this gets really big? What are your plans? And I think a lot of it is helping them get to a place of letting go and allowing and making improvements or changes as you go, and letting them know you can always let go of something. You could always hire someone, you could always stop doing something. Nothing's set in stone. And I think that helps relieve some people, because a lot of times people get frozen in taking on something because they're so scared of what they might lose. Like, let's say you end up becoming so successful, you're working 60 hours a week. Oh gosh, I might lose my relationship or my self-care time. So you know what, if it became that, you adapt and overcome as you go. And if you need to, then you can let go of something. And so I think that reassures people, okay, you know what, I'll just go for it anyway, because I can do this with ease. and also helping them have the confidence for if it does become something big, like the big success, having the confidence and, like you were talking about, Chris, the emotional, intelligence to handle what comes with that success.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, we all have the potential to have that success. We all have the potential to, if we stand in our power, to be able to do that. But sometimes it can be a little overwhelming for people. And sometimes it can be like, well, I don't have a team behind me. I know what I'm capable of, but what am I going to do? Like you said, then we start thinking, okay, well, my family's going to suffer and I'm going to get burnt out. And we start moving down that negative pathway rather than, dreaming big. What do you think about dreaming big? I'm one for really setting some big dreams and big intentions. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally believe in dreaming big and bold, and that whatever you believe, the universe, divine energy, God will provide for you. And so
Yes.
it'll work out as long as you have the vision and you believe. And a lot of times what happens is our doubts block that. The way we're wording it out loud, like let's say we tell somebody about it and we downplay it. Well, I know it's crazy, but I want this to happen. And I know that's kind of out there, instead of just saying, oh my gosh, I want this to be this huge success and I make 6 figures by December. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think the bigger and bolder we dream, and then we let go of the attachment of exactly how it's going to come about, and do the actions necessary and the intentions necessary, but at the same time, sit back and allow things to happen. So there's an ebb and flow of being in the action of it and letting go and allowing it. So it's a hard one to get in a balance of, but with practice you can.
Hey there, I really hope that you're enjoying this episode, and I ask that you subscribe so that you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes that I publish. Let me interrupt the show just for a moment to let you know about something amazing that I have to offer you. Firstly, if you haven't yet signed up for my free Superconscious Success Inner Circle, then definitely go ahead and do that now. However, that's not what I'm here to talk to you about today. Today, I want to let you know about an upcoming virtual intensive that's coming up in September of this year. If you've been enjoying the content that Chris and I have been bringing you, then you are going to absolutely love what we have to offer. We've put together the most incredible 3-day intensive full of content showing you how you can integrate our 9-anchor transformational process to create harmony in your life and manifest the relationships and the finances and the health that you desire. You really can have it all if you know how to harmonize. Plus, I have even better news. If you're a member of our inner circle, then there's a special link in there that will actually give you 50% off the cost of the intensive up until the 31st of August. So, what will you receive with this intensive? Now, we knew you were most likely super busy running your business and your life. So we decided that instead of 3 days of live training, we would be pre-recording content so that you can watch it in your own time throughout the day. And then we would offer a live lunchtime session with myself and Chris, and some evening sessions with special guests for the VIP ticket holders. Now, to sign up for this, you can head across to universalconsciousnessworkshops.com/9ATP intensive, or head across to superconscioussuccess.com/inner circle and get it for 50% off. Now, thanks for listening, and let's head on over to the interview. And so what about the whole concept of self-worth? So when we're building our confidence, sometimes our self-worth can get in the way. Maybe we've been, as Chris was just mentioning before, going through 30 years of codependency and drug abuse and all that sort of thing. Sometimes our self-worth can be squashed. And so how may we start to build that self-worth in order to be able to build the confidence that maybe we're needing to be able to be that successful business owner, that successful entrepreneur that we're wanting to be?
Right. I think that the relief here is that confidence can be learned. And what set me out to studying confidence was I was bullied as a kid, and I was told some really horrible things by other kids. And then that shaped my self-worth over the years until I started working on myself and realizing, oh my gosh, this is causing people pleasing and all these other behaviors. And so I started interviewing people and finding out a lot more about confidence and what helps someone become more confident, what makes people lose it, and it can be learned. So that's really awesome. And I think what's important is to first be willing to address what happened in childhood that maybe helped you lose some of or caused you to lose some of your confidence, because it almost always is from childhood. And sometimes it's even in your 20s,
and
or
then it
even
can drag
later.
on. That's the thing.
Right. It can keep repeating. But if you can get to the root and do some inner child work and healing and journaling, or work with someone, I do that with clients. That is a big one that helps. Also just thinking about, like, where do I feel like I'm lacking in confidence, and practicing those things. And it sometimes it is just training our subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind is inundated with whatever we're regularly telling it. So if we're regularly saying, oh, you look like crap in those clothes every single day, then we're going to start believing it. Whereas if we just practice finding the good, like never leaving the mirror without saying something nice. Sometimes you have to keep going back to the mirror 10 times until you do it. But if you get into that flow of finding the good, and I love to be able to look at role models or celebrities or people in the media for the good thing, like, you know what? Kelly Clarkson talks about body image. Valerie Bertinelli talks about body image, and they're inspiring, and they love themselves no matter what, and they're real. So that inspires me. You know what I mean? And it helps you go, I'm enough too. So always looking, it's okay if we look at role models for inspiration.
Absolutely. And I love mirror work. I think mirror work is fantastic. And you were talking about being able to look at yourself in the mirror, because I think until we have a good relationship with that person that we see in the mirror, then we're not going to be able to move forward as human beings, as souls, and also as entrepreneurs, because we need to have that self-worth, that self-confidence, that love for ourselves, knowing that we're capable of anything. So that the morning ritual for me is to stand in front of the mirror and just spout out good stuff at yourself. And, you can put a mirror in a room that nobody else hears you, which I do. I put it in my back room. Nobody can hear me. They don't think I'm crazy. But the good thing is that when you do that, it brings up your vibration. When you do that, you start the day off on a note of positivity, on a note of, okay, you know what? I can do this. Today's going to be an awesome day. I can do this. I'm ready to get started. And like you, I was bullied when I was at high school quite badly. And so that knocked my confidence. Then I started dating a guy that was constantly telling me I was fat and ugly and nobody was ever going to love me. And so as you go through these relationships, thankfully I've met somebody that's completely the opposite now. But as you go through that, it's just like one hit after another. And until we can get past how other people feel about us, what other people think about us, and we start to love that person that we see in the mirror, then we can't move on from that.
Right. An exercise that I love, and it is a little bit, it's another paradox, because it's a little bit about what people think, but we do care about what our friends and people we work with think in a positive way.
Yes.
Just not in a way where we're people pleasing. And so there's a great exercise that you can do where you email about 5 to 8 people and you say, I'm doing this for a coaching exercise or whatever. And you just say, can you answer these for me? How do you describe me? What are some gifts and talents you see in me? And what is some constructive criticism that you can give me if there's any? And I have found over the years that almost always, I would say 95% of the time, clients and people have come back going, oh my gosh, I didn't see myself in as good of a light as all these people are seeing me. I never looked at myself as a leader. And it helps you actually see yourself the way others are seeing you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important for your closer network, is to be able to, if you're in masterminds, this is what's so fantastic about masterminds and collaborations and stuff, because you meet people that are like-minded, and you can then help each other to see the good in themselves. So I love that, and I think that's a great exercise, and I would recommend, you know, the entrepreneurs that are watching this show to go and do that, because we've all got a network of people that support us, but we don't recognize that they support us because we don't feel like we have the, like you said, the attributes that they possibly see in us.
Right. Right. And there's been research that has been done. Like, I remember going to a workshop with New York, and she said 95% of people at one time or another throughout the day think they're not good enough. So if that many people are in their head thinking they're not good enough, people are talking to each other in their head. What do I look like? Am I good enough? Am I sounding weird? And it's like, just let go and be yourself. You know, with practice, you actually can get to that place where you're free from thinking like, oh no, what are they thinking about me? You won't even care anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. So, okay, now you talk about on yours 10 plus, is it 10 plus living, where we try and, you know, move past that stage of the 10. What's your concept there? I was looking at it on your site and your talks and stuff. What's your concept behind that?
Yeah, both of my books. My first book is Getting Your Life to a 10 plus, and then the second book is Living the 10 plus life.
Yeah.
And it really is based on, years ago, a guy came up to me and he goes, rate your life 1 to 10. And I just without thinking, I went 10 plus. And he's like, huh? And I went, well, I mean, I feel really happy. And it does not mean that every single area of your life is perfect at all times, but it just means pretty much in general, all the areas of your life are extremely happy because you've shaped them that way. You know, and it doesn't mean there's not going to be challenges. And sometimes it might go down to a 0, you know, but you have the tools to pick it back up to a 10 plus again, much quicker. I can't talk quicker than if you didn't have the tools to do so. And so really the books are just about, and my talks are just about getting every area of your life to a place where you have inner peace, joy, harmony. And when you have challenges, you have the wherewithal and tools to overcome those challenges and become better from them.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, doesn't that sound like what we're moving towards with our 9 anchor transformation?
Yes, absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah, it's all about bringing that peace and that harmony to entrepreneurs and business owners out there, because as I said to you before, Kim, we struggle as business owners sometimes. We may have lots of money coming in, but our relationships are starting to slide. Or, you know, we may have, you know, great relationships with others, but we have a hard time loving ourselves, you know, and a lot of that is because we're putting on a front. And so I'm going to segue off and I'm going to ask you, the whole concept of authenticity is when we're online, when we're trying to build our business, and you're an intuitive business coach, you tend to lead your day through intuition as I do. And so how important is authenticity when you're on this platform as an entrepreneur?
Right. I mean, I think authenticity in general is also can be learned, and it's peeling away the layers, because sometimes people are so in what they think everyone wants
them to be.
They don't know their true selves all the way. And so that's when you hear, if you're asked something and you say, well, I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah. Or when you're out of rapport with yourself, like you go, oh, I really want to act confident when I go to that networking meeting and go talk to 5 people, but I don't know why I always sit down and look at my phone. That means you're out of rapport with what you really want. Like, you're not in alignment with your desires or yourself. And so it takes that work on spiritual, personal, business development to get to that place, to do the healing or whatever is needed on your confidence and self-esteem, to get to the place where you are in alignment with yourself, so you do feel authentic. And it is in baby steps. The more you take time every single day, pretty soon you'll go, like, year will go by and you'll go, oh my gosh, I'm like 30% more confident than I was last year. I see a huge difference because I'm doing the work every single day. And so on social media, I feel like, completely just be yourself. But I do believe you don't need to tell everyone every little thing.
No.
There are people on there talking about all their problems constantly and all their deepest feelings. And sometimes it's overboard and it's not necessary.
And it's not really something that people really want to know.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, especially if you're trying to build your own confidence, your own self-worth, and then all you're seeing is people that are telling all their problems. And I think authenticity is a little different to going online and just spouting out everything. Some people,
Exactly.
it's like, okay, that's great that you feel confident enough to go and do that, but we want confidence where, like you said, you're not one of these people that sits in the background and doesn't go up and talk to people or network or and Chris being a speaker, and also, he actually has courses on teaching people how to become a speaker. I think this is really important, isn't it, Chris?
No, absolutely. I mean, in order to be an example and be a resource every day, like Kim said, you got to put the work into yourself. It's always about harmony. It's going to be a little bit. You're going to be putting into your work one week, then it's going to be to yourself, and then relationships, your well-being. So it's never this balance. I always hear that word balance. I mean, it's trying to be perfect. It's always progress and teetering like on a seesaw. So harmony.
Absolutely. And life's like that. I mean, life is about learning and growing and becoming, we don't typically figure out who we truly are for years and years and years until we can stand in that power and we can go, okay, I'm living my purpose, I'm living my passions. And I think that once you are doing something that you're passionate about, you're living your purpose, you're living your purpose. And like we said at the start of the interview, you're waking up every morning and you're excited to get started doing what you're doing. Once you're in that place, then you have that confidence. You've got that natural confidence because you know that whatever you put out there is going to be in your truth. And so there is going to be naturally that authenticity. There is going to naturally be that confidence and that empowerment to do what you need to do. So I think that's fantastic. I think that it really comes down to figuring out what your purpose is, and I think then your self-worth and your confidence and all that will all start to build. Like Kim said, it's something that can be learned. Confidence, right. If you're not confident at the moment, maybe you're scared of getting on stage. How many of us are scared of getting on stage? Seriously. I mean, what is it? The number 2 fear in the world? It's like behind death. I think it's probably the next fear. And I think that it's once you've got that confidence, I mean, you look at the TEDx speakers and they get on stage and you can see them and they're just, that they're in their power. They're talking about what they're wanting to talk about. And I mean, it's quite an interesting process. I've got a number of friends that have done the TEDx talks, and it's quite an interesting process, but you can see that power that's sort of like exuding from the people on the stage. So we can all learn that. That's something that, that once you find your purpose and your power, I think that you can actually, discover how to move through that fear.
Right. Right. And it doesn't mean that that's for you. You don't have to do that. I think what I hear quite often about purpose is somebody will complain, well, I'm doing this. I don't have time. I have to work this job for the money. I don't even have time to figure it out. And that's a really common one. Yeah. And so I encourage, anyone listening or watching that feels that way, just give yourself the challenge of 1 hour a day of doing something like productive, whether it be meditating, watching something on YouTube that's inspiring, a podcast, or journaling, or just even searching. One of the websites that's great for that is it's called Udemy.com.
Yeah, I love it.
You know it? Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's udemy.com. But I feel like you just search that site and you could get ideas for what your purpose is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. It's courses that you can take for like $30 and it gives you everything. So I think don't give up the search. Don't just settle for a life that you don't feel 100% about.
And if you are in this, one thing that I often say to people is, if you are in this place where you're having to work a 9-to-5 job because you have to support your family, I mean, we've all been there. then still try to find something within your day that you love about it. Still try to find something that gives you that higher vibration, because the higher your vibration is, the easier you're going to figure out your purpose. Because that's
Right.
when we can start to use our intuition. That's when we can start to get our downloads. That's when we can start to really figure out, our higher selves help us with this. And our
Mm-hmm.
higher selves will talk to us and we'll say, okay, well, this is something that you love to do. This is something, and it could be like Kim says, just an hour a day. Just listen to some amazing podcasts. Listen to some great. I love to go onto the YouTube channels and watch motivational videos. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling a little bit flat, okay, let's use this content, this amazing content that other people have created, to help us to get back into that vibration. So,
Right.
but it is important that rather than, it can be tough sometimes, because sometimes we work in jobs that we don't want to work in and they're annoying us, and we want to be doing something different, but we can't right now. Even if you just start small and go, okay, what can I be grateful for in this job? And then other stuff will start to come to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. Wow, this has been a great conversation, Kim. I think that being able to build your confidence. Kim has got an amazing course on confidence. And what is the name of your course, Kim?
Yeah, it's called 10 Weeks to Confidence, and you can find it at kimsconfidencecourse.com.
Oh, easy to remember.
Yeah, and actually I'm partners on the course with Kyle Wilson, who worked with Jim Rohn as his 18-year partner. So it all came full circle, seeing Jim Rohn at 18, and then years later ended up working with Kyle. So isn't that funny how life works like that?
The universe works in very mysterious ways. So if you just trust in it and have faith that everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to, fantastic. So you can go to Kim's website at kimslifecoach.com. Definitely go and check out the confidence course. Do you have anything else that you would like to say, Chris?
No, I just wanted to thank Kim for all the insight and kind of really laying down the foundation around confidence. Confidence is something that we have to put in the work through discipline and consistency every day. We can never become complacent. And as we raise our vibrational level through confidence, that impacts so many things that we do, that she pointed out, and helping us to be our better self, better in business. It's not about being the best, but being your best and empowering others to do for themselves.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, Kim. Is there
Thank you.
anything else that you would like to say? Any other links or anything else that they can go to?
I'm just appreciative of being here. You can follow me on social media, Kim Summers Egelsee, or I'm under at Kim Life Coach on Instagram.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for being here, and I look
All right,
forward to
thank
chatting
you.
to you later.